Welcome everybody to Overreaction Lunes with the Compas. I'm Fernando Ramirez. That's Gilbert Manzano. What's up, bro?
What's up with you? You just coughed and you sound a little raspy there.
Yeah, I'm a little raspy. I mean, we saw each other on Saturday. I wasn't doing too hot when the Chargers and the Bills got into it. So yeah, but I was able to get better. Honestly, I feel fine. The only thing is my voice a little bit. But definitely obviously Gilbert's gonna kill me for this one, but still want to wish you guys a Merry Christmas. I hope everybody had a great holiday season with you and your loved ones, and obviously there was football this year, so that was definitely awesome. But Gilbert, how are you doing?
I'm doing much better than you, that's for sure. But it was a busy weekend. Thursday covering the Rams versus Saints. Then trying to avoid getting sick with you on Bills Chargers at SoFi, so a little doubleheader there. And then I guess 3 days doubleheader. But then also all the family stuff back and forth, the Noche Buena, and then football in the same weekend. Like, dude, like I went from covering a bunch of games, obviously from my house, so nothing too wild, but as soon as the Patriots and the Broncos came out, I'm like, I don't need to watch this. Let me close my laptop. Went over to my girlfriend's house in Anaheim, from Northridge to Anaheim, and had a bunch of tamales, and I had to make them wait for me. And I got there on time. Pozole, tamales, gained a few pounds, but it's okay.
That's that's why I said I'm like I was waiting for SI to tweet out Gilbert's on our rights while eating pozole and tamales, but
I,
obviously
I did I did mention it on my story last night, but apparently nobody reads stories on Christmas Day, so I think I was talking to myself in that story.
that's pretty funny. Obviously, by the way, I think Gilbert and I both had the same interaction with him. We're gonna talk Ravens and 49ers. I know that Thier's already in here talking his mess. It's
Yeah.
cool, Thier.
I heard that
Merry
Theory
Christmas to
went
you.
and tweeted at you too to say
Yeah,
what's up
Thier
now.
tweeted at me as well, but I was busy celebrating the holiday season, so I had no time. But Gilbert, I came away with the same thing as you. Josh Allen is like a really cool guy. Like
Oh yeah.
we were in the locker room, in the Bills locker room, and we got to talk to Josh Allen for a bit. I mean, Tyler Dragon talked to him. We kind of chatted briefly, but just a really nice guy.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a reporter or just a trainer or a fan. He was just stopping and talking to everybody, and I'm like, I actually kind of like the even kill there because a different quarterback might have been annoyed. Like, how do you lose or how do you win by 2 points? You needed a walkout field goal against a team that just got blown out by 42 points and lost their head coach. He's like, yeah. We make it difficult. He kind of talks like that. He's like, yeah, whatever, we won, and that's actually a good time for a team. Trying to go week by week, win and win to go to the playoffs. So yeah, they had to sweat it out against the Chargers, and Gibbs Smith, gave him a little bump there of energy. But I'll ask you in a bit after we talk Ravens 49ers. But I want to know what you saw differently from these Chargers with Gibbs Smith. But we'll get to that in a bit.
You know what's funny? So Gilbert was walking out of the locker room, so was I, and then Timothy from Spectrum One was right behind us, and then Josh Allen was behind him. And Josh goes, "Hey, buddy, you have something on your shoe." And he like bends over and he had a sticker on there, and he rips the sticker off and he's like, "There you go, pal. Oh, thank you so much." He's
Yeah,
like,
buddy.
yeah, of course. Have a Merry Christmas. And like Gilbert and I kind of looked at each other, and then we talked to Timothy on the elevator, and he's like, "Holy crap, he's a really nice guy." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, like all four of us, like Tyler Dragon as well, we all came away with wow,
He
what a
was like
cool
he
guy."
was walking barefoot to his press conference.
Yeah.
He's
He
the
didn't care.
what do people
Yeah,
call him, the golden retriever now? He has like that energy where like everything's just chill and cool, not a big
he's just
deal.
relaxed, and I mean, he took some hits in that game and everything, and he's just chilling. But
The only time he's
definitely,
stressed out when Stephon Diggs gets in his face for not throwing the football to him. That's about it.
oh yeah, but yeah, I mean, we'll get into that. But all right, let's get into this. Obviously, the Baltimore Ravens. Uh, their defense, man, they picked apart Brock Purdy, and the Ravens ended up beating the 49ers 33-19. Brock Purdy throws four interceptions in about I think in 3 quarters he threw the four interceptions. Lamar 23 of 35, 252, 2 touchdowns, 45 rushing yards. Zay Flowers just keeps on showing why he was a first round pick. 9 catches, 72 yards, 1 touchdown. They what really impressed me about the Ravens just been their defense. And Gilbert, the one thing that I point at is the stability that the Ravens have had since becoming the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, oh my god, I just forgot their GM, their old GMs,
Ozzy,
Ozzy
Ozzy's right there.
Ozzy Newsome.
Listen, I'm not that baseball player.
Yeah. Then and then obviously you have Brian Billick as the head coach. Then it's John Harbaugh. They've just had so much stability. John Harbaugh, honestly, since he took over that team, I know that there's been like some down, but it's basically been up for those guys. And then obviously he won that Super Bowl against his brother a couple of years ago. But they two impact guys on that team are Kyle Van Noy and Jadeveon Clowney. Nobody wanted those guys. Like people waited until they waited until the season to get Kyle Van Noy. Jadeveon, I think it was like a couple of days before training camp was up. So just two guys that really, I mean, that defense is just so well improved. Guys are putting their hands up as soon as the quarterback's throwing the football. They're doing everything right. And I think that is a team, if you have a GM opening, that's a team that you need to look at to hire your next general manager, because they're one of those teams that has a lot of stability. But Gilbert, what did you see from the Baltimore Ravens?
I'm gonna give them a lot of credit, but I'm gonna focus on what you just said about kind of putting their hands up, batting footballs down. Like if you look at the stats, Fernando, if you're one of those people that just cares about stats, like this is not the game for you, because there wasn't a lot of quarterback hits or sacks, but that pressure got to Brock Purdy. They were all over the place, and I'm trying to Baldy's breakdowns today. By the way, check him out on Twitter. He's great. Like he was just saying, like they're like a zone matchup team where they make you believe there's space for openings, and out of nowhere just closes. Like Kyle Hamilton getting an interception. Marlon Hunt for being in the right spot with a bad pass for an interception. Like they're not recording the sacks, but they're just creating chaos, confusion, pressure, and I don't think Brock Purdy was right. Was ready for it, and they didn't even allow the 49ers to get into a rhythm offensively with the rushing attack. Christian McCaffrey had that one touchdown. That's about it. But when the game was muddy and dirty, and it was like 5-3 or something like that, something weird, or 2-0. It was still a Ravens game, and they kept operating. So, for me, I'm not gonna say that I'm right on the Ravens. I'll say I was wrong, but I think I kept taking baby steps with them to the point now where, okay, I believe in you guys. You guys are real Super Bowl contenders. You beat down the 49ers with the complete roster. And I don't want to talk about the 49ers just yet, but you had Debo. You had Trent Williams. Don't give me this crying Trent Williams wasn't playing for the fourth quarter. The game was over by then. Brock Purdy got hurt at the end too. You're fully loaded. You're at home, and you put up that performance against the Ravens. That's a confusing defense. Lamar Jackson being 20-1 against the NFC. He's just something different. Speaking about the stats, Fernando, when you watch Lamar Jackson play, it's not about the passing yard. It's about what he could do away from the pocket, extending plays, confusing the crap out of you. So, good quarterback, great defense, legendary kicker, good head coaches, coordinators. That's a complete team right there. And I think I rest my case. They're Super Bowl contenders in my eyes, at least.
The incredible part is that, like I said, like John really has had a stable unit, and I know a lot of guys get hired, and I mean guys get hired from his tree and everything, and I'm just really surprised that they're not talking more about John Harbaugh for head coach of the year. Because remember, Gilbert, what were the reports before the season started? If John doesn't make the Super Bowl, or if John doesn't make the playoffs, he could be fired. Dude, there'd be a lot of teams that would fire their head coaches just to go get John Harbaugh. Like, exactly. The only thing I'm not buying, Gilbert, if I'm being completely honest, and I actually thought Lamar had a good game, but this notion of nobody went out to go get Lamar during free agent, like the 2 first-round draft, like that to me is just dumb, because in my opinion, I don't know if Lamar would work anywhere else. I think John has really centered he changed the way his offense was. Remember, he went from Joe Flacco, a guy that, I mean, he's still playing in the NFL, but he throws the ball downfield. He's one of those quarterbacks that changing it to completely molding over to what Lamar Jackson does. What is Lamar Jackson like? Fast receivers, fast running backs. That's exactly what they've molded over to. And I'm sure for John, it wasn't easy, but he changed everything he did to fit what Lamar did. I just don't know if any other coaches could do that. Experienced coaches. I mean, it would have taken a while. I think it was perfect for the Ravens that nobody tried to go get him and give up 2 first-round draft picks because obviously
And you got to pay
he's
him
good
the contract too, the $300 million, pretty
you have
much.
to pay him, you have to give up the picks,
Capital.
and then you have to go get receivers and everything that fit exactly what he
And
does.
the
And then the
Ravens
offense
probably would have matched it anyways. They had the first
exactly.
right
So
too.
it just I just thought that narrative was really dumb last night because I feel like people were waiting to be like, I told you so, and they pulled the trigger early and they waited till December to freaking tell us, oh yeah, look, I told you so, instead of waiting till February or late January to say, okay, I told you so. Like I'd be waiting, but I'm with you in the sense of this is a dangerous team. It's just, can they stay consistent? What, because this is the problem with the NFL, and I think this is the problem with everybody, is that next week, if Miami beats them, then the narrative changes and everybody's like, oh, well, Miami now is the best team. Like the Ravens take a back seat. It's like there's too much moving and dancing for me, but I do think that the Ravens are tough. They still play that old school football where they're going to punch you in the mouth with their offensive line, and they're going to combat it with a strong defensive line to also do that as well. So they're old school. I like old school. I like what the Ravens have done, but I still have my doubts and questions about the team just because I need to see it a little bit more consistently moving forward. But I was really impressed with what they did, especially because they went into the 49ers. It's hard to go into San Fran and do that to the 49ers. I mean, the Cowboys tried, they got punched in the mouth. Other teams have tried, but I don't know. I am impressed with the Ravens though. They really were impressive and they came to play. They I don't know what's wrong with their defense, the 49ers defense, but and today we already saw it. They just signed Sebastian Joseph Day to their
So every time they lose, just go trade for an edge rusher or sign a defensive tackle. Is that what we're going to do, 49ers, every single time?
that looks like that's their MO, but
I'm not saying Sebastian Joseph Day is going to make a difference, but they're adding depth, and that's a good thing about John Lynch. But real quick, Frank, kind of going to get to your point
no,
to
go ahead.
the Jackson line. Like, I feel like either you love him or you hate him, and sometimes it's like, can we just look at everything and add some context? And I think you broke it down, nicely. Like, it's okay to say, hey, Lamar Jackson's a good quarterback, but he's also in a very nice situation. And I started trying to do like the comparison, like, yeah, Jackson doesn't have the 4,000 yards passing, and he's not like a 300-yard passer every single game, but he's unique. You got a game plan for. I think it was Kyle Shanahan that told the broadcast, like, he's like a two-way player. You got to worry about the structure play and then what happens away from the play, and that's a lot to kind of take, especially if you're in the NFC. You never get to see that like they do in the AFC North. So I was trying to compare who is like the quarterback who kind of resembles Lamar Jackson. It might be Justin Fields, and you start thinking about it. Well, he doesn't have what he has in Baltimore. That's why he's too inconsistent as a passer. He's more run heavy first and throwing first. And credit to John Harbaugh, he reinvented himself. He went and said, "All right, we need a new OC. Todd Monken, can you help out Lamar to go to the next step?" And gradually, he was completing the passes at 70%. A little dinking and dunking, a little pass to Mark Andrew. And now that he's committed to the scheme, he's pushing that rock down the field, extending plays to likely Zay Flowers, OBJ. Mark Andrews not even on the field. Oh, Mitchell gets hurt. It's okay. Bring in Gus Edwards and you run with Lamar. So his patience really paid off. And then John Harbaugh defensively 2 years ago said, "All right, Mike McDonald, you're a little young, but go work with my brother for a year in Michigan, and then maybe we'll call you back." And he saw what happened. He got on back real quickly. So 2 coordinator hires there, and then having a great surrounding, because if Justin Fields was maybe in Baltimore, maybe he has the same success, but he doesn't have it in Chicago. But yeah, whatever you want to agree with on Lamar Jackson, I think he's a very good quarterback. What he does is very unique. But in terms of the 49ers, Fernando, like, if you're a 49ers fan and you're John Lynch, you're like, I thought we were gonna roll. I thought we were a juggernaut. We have a stacked roster, and you can still lose on any given Sunday. Like, isn't that kind of like uneasy for the 49er fans, thinking like, it's finally our year. We're ripping off all these wins. We just stay healthy, we'll beat anybody. You're healthy, you still lost.
Especially because you just beat the crap out of the Eagles a couple of weeks ago, and now you're like, well, what? Like now you're looking at it and you're like, well, what are we? If these two teams did meet in the Super Bowl, though, it might be easier for the 49ers to adjust what they did than for the Ravens to adjust, because they're going to be like, oh, well, maybe it would be better. But they really, I don't think, I think it'd be too brash to make a coach or a quarterback change for the 49ers.
Oh, no.
I think Brock Purdy is the guy you go with, but you have to realize what he is. And that's why I've kind of said that it's not Christian McCaffrey versus Brock Purdy for the MVP. If you don't have Brock Purdy on that team, you're still a pretty good team. If you don't have Christian McCaffrey, you're probably not as good of a team as what many would say. So I think
You're
that's
not a
kind of
good team
what.
with Sam Darnold. I'll just say that, Fernando. I've seen Sam Darnold too many times. Please don't go back to that guy.
No. But I'm saying like, but
I
if you
know.
took one each of them, like you'd rather take
Purdy.
Sam Darnold and keep CMC than go with Brock Purdy and no CMC. So that's kind of where I'm saying. But yeah, no, I don't think there's any excuse that the 49ers can make. Like they got punched in the mouth. They have Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel. They have play. I mean, Jawan Jennings didn't play, but I mean, yeah, and the guy's good, but there's no excuse that you can make to that. You got punched in the mouth, and that's just what happened. And I mean, John's, like I said, John's a great head coach that reinvented himself, that did everything that he needed to. And like you said, he hired coordinators from the college game, brought them in, and now both of them are,
Yeah.
I'd say both of them are probably inclined to get head coaching looks. I don't know if they would take it. That's why I was telling you, Gilbert, the other day that if I'm a guy like Patrick Graham, if the job isn't good, why would you want the title of head coach if the job isn't for you? Like
Yeah.
you don't just want to go take a job to be a head coach for the shits and giggles of it. Like you want to do it because you really believe in the ownership and the general manager and in their vision. And if you can't believe in all that stuff, just stay and do what you're doing and just continue to grow. I mean, it's not, if you continue on doing your job and doing it at a high place, you're gonna get a good coaching gig, but you just have to believe in all that. But but going back to Baltimore, they're a tough, they're a gritty group, and I kind of feel like they kind of use that, like that Napoleon like syndrome. I don't know what it is, but they always just come and they always punch teams in the mouth, and that's just what interests me about them, is that they're really aggressive. They have some good, like I said, Kyle Hamilton, Marlon
Yeah.
Humphrey.
Hopefully he's okay, by the way. He left with a knee injury,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
he's
yeah.
been
But he
banged
was
up.
he was laughing on the
Yeah.
sideline, and so hopefully he is. But the biggest thing, and I saw it today, Kyle Van Noy tweeted it out. He's like, how the Bears let Roquan Smith go is beyond me. And you gotta wonder that too. I mean,
Yeah.
he really has been a huge addition for this this Ravens team. And they just have such, and that's what I told you a couple of weeks ago, that their linebacking core is, or maybe I told it to Dan and Dago when we were breaking down Ravens versus Chargers. They have two of the best linebacking duos in the NFL. Like these guys are really good. They fly all over and they're really aggressive. They just have a complete unit all around.
Hey,
So
Patrick Queen was pretty much like a Kenneth Murray level for a couple years, and then Mike McDonald came and turned his career around.
yeah, and that's why coaching matters. And so it's just and I'm, well, not just Mike McDonald though. The addition of Roquan Smith obviously
That
helps
definitely
as
helps. Yeah,
well. So
yeah,
yeah.
having somebody else. But like, look at the 49ers. They also have Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner. So having two in today's era where everybody wants to just throw the football down the
Yeah.
field, no, like you still need to have good linebackers to stop the run and also keep a spy on the quarterback and kind of do a little bit of everything. And both those teams have that. But Fernando, the Ravens defense have the secondary with Marlon Humphrey and Kyle Hamilton, so they have a more complete defense. And the 49ers pass rush, if they can't get there, and it's tough to get to Lamar Jackson, they don't have the secondary. They're not as bad as
They kept missing him too.
yeah, like it's not as bad as the Eagles because they have the linebackers, and they don't have to worry about Lamar Jackson in the NFC postseason. But the whole goal is to win the freaking Super Bowl for the 49ers. And what if you run into that team again? It could be an issue. But and I don't know. But I'll ask. We can end with this if you want. But like, do you see these two teams back in the Super Bowl as a rematch? Because it's kind of hard not to say yeah.
NFL Mike put up a thing saying that like the color scheme of the Super Bowl is in the last 3 years has
Really?
been what the Super Bowl is going to be,
Oh,
and the color scheme this year is purple and red. So
okay.
it seems like it's going to be 49ers. No, and I'd love to see this again, especially because, and I'm not going to lie, like that stat that they threw up yesterday where like Kyle Shanahan is like 0 and
Oh, going
77 being
38 now. Oh, sorry. Is it
0
something
and
else?
38. Oh,
On
is that
the when you're trailing by 8 points in any
yeah,
point in the fourth quarter. Yeah, 138.
that's very alarming, especially because we all know Kyle Shanahan has a bit of Reggie Miller in him, or like
You mean
yeah.
the Knicks
So
or the
well, yeah.
or yeah.
The he kind of choked, so that's not a good look. So and that's what I've kind of noticed about the 49ers. If they don't get off to hot starts, they're not. Like you can basically stiff arm them out, and you're going to win the game. Like if you're facing like a Mahomes, Herbert, guys like those kind of guys, like that they give you at least that scary chance of, oh, you know what, you have to keep the gas on the pedal
Yeah.
at all times. If not, those guys can come back. Joe Burrow, like those kinds of guys. But
Like, what if like the Rams, like maybe in a playoff matchup, or the Lions, or even the Eagles, just jump out to a big lead on the 49ers? You have to play from behind. That could be trouble in the postseason.
that's going to be a lot of trouble because they just don't seem to be able to come back with their offense, and that's the limitation of Brock Purdy, and that's the thing that the 49ers had to have known when they selected him to be their starting quarterback, is that this isn't a guy that's going to lead you on comebacks or any of that. Like, you have to get off to a hot start. If not, he's going to struggle to get you back in the game, and that's just the truth. I mean, it's no knock on him. It's just you have to go get if you really want to win a Super Bowl, you're going to have to go get a game changer. Hell, even with Lamar, I know I've said before that the Ravens are the ones that have to get off to a fast lead as well, which, yeah, sometimes they do. But I'm sure Lamar could lead a fourth quarter comeback and do stuff like that.
Yeah,
Unlike
they got pushed by the Rams not too long ago, and I think they actually made them some good, like for the long term, like playing
yeah,
like in the shootout like that.
no, that definitely helps, and especially because we all know that the Rams are. I mean, they have good coaching, they have a great front office, but yeah, Kyle
You want to
Shanahan.
respond to it there, or are we moving on?
I already said 3 times at the year. Yeah, you won this one, but I'm just surprised that everybody's boasting now and not waiting until February to see if he wins the Super Bowl. But I'll let you guys have your victory lap. 2 examples of 2 teams getting after this weekend: the Ravens and the Raiders. Knocked 2 quarterbacks off their pedestal this year. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
I like the Rams' chances. Happy New Year to you as
Yeah,
well,
Happy New Year.
Delbert.
Delbert's been telling me that all year because I'm always like the negative one. Like, yeah, they're not.
Oh, so he's the House of
I'm
Rams.
not Mike Florio saying like a team's gonna get the crap beaten out of them, but sometimes I'm like, that team's really good, and I don't think they could beat that team or that team. But he's always telling me like any week you could be an upset, and especially on Monday Night Football. There's a bunch of upsets, man. I can't believe I think I've missed on all of them. By the way.
But I mean, that's just, and I told you at the beginning of this year, this is going to be a weird year. And especially because, and the funny part, you and I both kind of called the Chiefs struggling this year. I mean, we said that the Chargers were going to be
Super Bowl
the ones
fatigue.
that took the division, but the Chiefs are really struggling, and it feels like anybody can really come out this year and take this Super Bowl. But I don't know. Well, I guess people prop up Brock Purdy. I don't think I've really propped up Brock Purdy at all. So I don't.
It's like the Lamar Jackson arguments. Either you really love the guy, or you think he's just like a fraud or something. and all the people like Cam Newton, by the way, yesterday was taking a victory lap. So people who think he's like the negative game manager, people don't like that term. I think he's the best quarterback they've had since Kyle Shanahan got there, and I think that more reasons to keep hyping up the guy. But yeah, I'm okay with toning it down and saying he's not the MVP. That's okay with me too.
Yeah, no, I completely understand. But yeah, anything can happen this year. This is a completely different year, and I feel like there's no front runner for anything. I mean, yeah, right now everybody's saying the Ravens are the best, but next week they could lose to the Dolphins, and then you're like, oh, well,
yeah, that
whatever.
should be a good one.
So, yeah, no, and Athir just said that the Miami will get smashed 34-17.
He's all in. I like
he really is all in with
once
the
the
Ravens.
Chargers are done with it, he's like, okay, I'm all in with a new team.
Yeah, he's all in with the Ravens, but we don't have to get to the. Obviously, we can move on to the Chargers game. Chargers ended up losing 24-22 to the Buffalo Bills. They needed a last second field goal from Tyler Bass to beat the Chargers. Chargers showed a lot of fight in this game, but at the end, obviously the Buffalo Bills have a big path where they've won 3 in a row now. Now they're looking up to potentially beating or playing that last game for the AFC East. So I know Gilbert and I at one point we're kind of looking at each other and we're like, when is this team going to wake up and finally get going? Because they were down, I think, 10-0. And finally they kind of got it going in the second quarter. But Gilbert, just what were your takeaways from the Bills and Chargers?
Yeah, I think they're gonna find a way into the postseason. The Bills, they're a good team, but they reminded me of the team of why they were 6-6. They're very inconsistent, uneven, a thin defense, an inconsistent offense, and they can't figure it out, Fernando. Like either they're gonna be a run heavy team or a bombs away team. And they tried being a little bit of both against the Chargers, and it was like, okay, well, pick a scheme. And I think the good teams are able to do both at the same time, but they kept trying to run the football with James Cook. It wasn't working. He had that kind of critical fumble. And then they tried pushing the ball to Gabe Davis, which did work. And then tried doing it with Stephon Diggs, and then there was a fumble. So I think Allen is kind of going back and forth with feeding everybody. But what's making you laugh, Fernando?
Oh, what a Thier just sent. Tell Dan and Dago. Thier said, before you talk trash about the Ravens, let's hope we get staffs like this in LA.
Oh, okay.
Dan's right here, so he heard it.
You pop
Thier.
in, Dan, if you want. But no,
He
okay.
said he's good to go. But I mean, nothing that Dan said is wrong. He just said that he's just not a big Lamar guy. And I mean, that's completely fine. I mean, not everybody has to like everybody, or like the quarterbacks and everything, but Dan's unique. So I understand where he comes from with his form of thinking. But I I wasn't surprised at the way they were flying around though against the Bills.
The
But
Chargers?
yeah, the Chargers, like Derwin only played 40 snaps. They used different combinations. They
He
were
was more
throwing,
at the line of scrimmage, I felt like.
they used him a little bit more in the slot than anything. But I kind of thought you would kick out Kenneth Murray or Eric Kendricks and see what Derwin could do maybe at that spot, maybe move him around a little bit more, let him do a little bit more with that. But obviously, for some reason, Kenneth Murray has a huge, well, whatever. But I I wasn't surprised at the way the team fought because I know they love Give Smith. Give Smith is loved in this organization. Give Smith is loved by the players. I wasn't surprised by any of that. So I was really impressed with the way they did they played. But not surprised that they fought for him. But at the end, obviously the Bills caught him. But Gilbert, which Bills team do you feel like is the team that we what's the real Bills team? Is it the one that thrashed the? Because remember, the Bills, unless they win the division, which I think is going to be very tough for them, they're going to be playing on the road
Yeah.
if they make the playoffs. So, which Bills team do you think is the real one? The one that went into Kansas City and the one that played against the Cowboys, or this Chargers one? Because there kind of seems like there was a kind of a disconnect against them.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think everybody's gonna jinx that Week 18 game for the AFC East title on the line. Like the Bills almost lost to the Chargers, then the Dolphins look pretty good against the Cowboys. Watch the Dolphins mess around and beat the freaking Ravens like you
You think
maybe
it's going to
hinted
be
at.
Colts and Jags, huh? That last one.
I don't want to see the Colts. I'm tired of the Colts. I love Shane Steichen, but they're going to be a terrible team in the playoffs. And then the Steelers are still hanging around. But anyways, to the point, everybody lost that they needed to lose for the Bills, and I still see them as like a slightly above average team. Like this whole talk about being Super contenders after what I saw with the Chargers. Okay, cool. They still are that inconsistent team. They can't figure it. Like offensively, I like watching the Bills when they're bombs away, but that means more interceptions for Josh Allen. Like they're like what they did to Philly a couple weeks back in overtime. That was a fun offense, but they win. Like they're better when they run the ball with James Cook, like you mentioned that Cowboys game. But then like people get frustrated. Like Stephon Diggs wants the ball or give Dalton Kincaid the ball, and Allen's like, "Well, I didn't really do anything. I'm like the guy who got the A on the project who didn't do anything." It's like they can't figure out who they are. It's a little concerning. And then can McDermott keep having great game plans for a very thin defense? They're getting a little healthier, but people keep talking about them like, oh, if they get in, watch out. I'm like, okay, the Ravens are actually much better than them. I think maybe even this Dolphins kind of team with a better defense could beat this Bills team in Week 18. I think even the Browns should be ahead of the Bills when it comes to Super Bowl contenders AFC. Like the Browns have been really impressive, so they're a good team. They're gonna be a scary out, and then maybe they play the Chiefs in the first round. Maybe they knock out the Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium. But I don't see them like on the levels these other teams. Like the Chiefs and the Bills are kind of the same. The Dolphins did impress me, but I still like the Browns and the Ravens a little higher.
The Bills scare me lots because people Josh Allen is hungry. He's the person I don't want to see in Baltimore in the AFC title game. Super Bowl trip on the line.
He could
A
probably throw
fear,
4 interceptions against that defense. Like it's just I don't know.
but man, I would love to see Cleveland and Baltimore in the divisional game. Like that would be a lot of fun for me, just because I'd love to see
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco against Baltimore. That'd be really interesting to see how that would go. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think this could mean that Josh Allen throws a lot of interceptions. This is kind of
They're fun to
it,
watch. Like if they have Gabe
yeah,
Davis involved, I like that offense, but they get a little reckless trying to push it.
yeah, especially because like that one throw to Stephon Diggs, like
Yeah,
if like he said, if he would have planted his foot
yeah.
and thrown it,
On their
he
throne.
completes it, and it's probably a touchdown to Stephon Diggs. But the problem is that Alohi Gilman made a good play on it and he intercepted it. So I don't know.
Yeah. Anything you're okay? I was gonna say anything on the Chargers vacancy front, Fernando. I don't know, but I'm probably too early for that. But
I
uh,
was just thinking that on this kind of front, I don't know what you think about this, but if they really do go get I think last night should have showed them exactly what they need. Well, you know what? Hold on. Keep on talking.
okay, Fernando's trying to recover, but I don't know. I'm interested to see what happens with this GM and head coaching search for now. Like I keep telling you, like if they kind of hold off on the GM search, that tells you they're gonna go big game hunting here, like either like a Jim Harbaugh or Bill Belichick. And Bill Belichick's having the time of his life right now, just sticking into the Patriots. Like, yeah, I'm gonna get fired at the end, but screw your draft pick. Let's keep winning some ball games here where Bailey's happy. And I actually kind of like that. That like it was more like Mac Jones, you're the problem. It wasn't me, the genius guy with 6 titles as a head coach or 2 with the Giants. Like, seeing Bill O'Brien and Bill Belichick as Fernando keeps dying in the background. I'm gonna try to keep being professional here. Seeing Bailey Zappi just doing what he's doing the last couple of weeks, winning the game against what did he beat? He beat the Steelers. He beat the Broncos. So that tells me that Bill Belichick still has a lot left in the tank. And I'm starting to go back into that, but I still gotta see it to believe it that the Chargers are going to spend money for Jim Harbaugh, for Bill Belichick. Do you trade capital for Mike Tomlin? I'm still on that train for a veteran, experienced head coach, but then the money and the compensation, all that's a whole factor, and that's where we kind of tend to say maybe the dream won't be alive for the Chargers to get a veteran coach. Unless it's Dan Quinn. People got soured on Dan Quinn because of the performance in Buffalo, but I still think he's a good coach.
The one thing that I kind of go back to is that if they do go get a Jim Harbaugh, because yesterday should have showed them one thing: the AFC West is open for
Yeah,
business. Like,
actually, yeah.
especially with what happened to Mahomes. Like, Mahomes is the reason why they lost that game. Like, he fumbled that ball, and then he threw that pick six.
But what were they
Aiden
trying to
O'Connell
do
didn't
on that
even.
on the exchange of Pacheco? I still don't even know what the hell they're trying to do. Like, why is he taking the snap and then why is he giving it back to Mahomes? Like, just give it to Mahomes in the first place. It was dumb.
Dude, that's what I'm telling you though. Like, they sometimes overthink and they do stupid stuff
They
like that.
ran
And
the
then
same play like twice and back to back. One was a touchdown, one was a scoop and score touchdown for the other team.
yeah, like it was just dumb in my opinion to do all that. And they got fancy.
And he's now yelling at
And
everybody. He's really frustrated. Kelsey throwing his freaking. We're gonna talk about him in a bit, but it's
that
you.
Kelsey stuff,
I was
that's
gonna,
very
I was
telling.
gonna say for your brother likes to call me Fernando a curse, but maybe it's the Taylor Swift curse. Is that's really powerful for the Chiefs.
I don't know what it is, but that's what I was gonna say. Okay, so the AFC West is wide open, and then kind of what the Ravens did, like that shows you the stability of a Harbaugh, like in a sense. Like I know Jim doesn't stay very long at a lot of places, but he has won wherever he goes,
That's
and
fine.
he's been in the college game now for 5 to 6, 6, 7 years. He's seen the talent. He knows the talent coming in. He knows the talent that's gonna come into college, and so he might have an
Yeah.
upper hand on a lot of that stuff. But this tells me though, if they do go get a Jim Harbaugh, that means that John's going to take a step back, and I think Dean might realize this, have him take a step back and give more, that because we all know how this is. This is a power, like a lot of what happens in the NFL is a power struggle. Owners don't want to give up power to coaches. We saw Jimmy Johnson used to have a lot of the power. He got a lot of the praise, and Jerry, that did not sit well with Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones hasn't won a championship since Barry Switzer, and well, because obviously this fool left the team secured and everything. We're gonna see what happens in New England. We're gonna see like we see what happens around the NFL when it comes to power and ownership, and this is gonna be the interesting part. Is it all smoke and mirrors, or are they really willing to change everything that they've done in the past and go get a top tier head coach to say, you know what, we need to get our quarterback something, our young quarterback who's only 24 years old. We need to go get him some stability. Let's go get Jim Harbaugh. Let's go into this and let's do it the right way. Or is it just going to be business as usual? Go get the offensive coordinator from the Houston Texans and just who knows? And I'm not trying to
Yeah.
call it, but you know what I mean? Like,
No, it's like it's fine. Just because you had a bad experience with a first time head coach, or like, what about a first time head coach who's good at offense? Like you had that with,
yeah,
you had defense with Staley, and I think Lynn was more a little bit of everything. I know he was a running backs coach, but he was a little bit of everything. McCoy was more offense, I think, right? As the
yeah.
OC for whatever a bunch of teams. But you know what? If like look, I brought up Nick Sirianni to you the other day for now because like he was like an afterthought candidate. The Eagles were trying to go all in for Staley or somebody else. It's kind of like, hey, you're wearing a tracksuit, but just come over here and let's do an interview real quick. He's like, oh yeah, this guy's actually pretty smart. Like, go check out what Tampa Bay the OC's doing. Dave Canales channels. He's doing a great job at Baker Mayfield. Give like you mentioned the guy for Bobby Slowick for the Texans, the OC there. So just make sure it's a well thought out, look under every rock scheme. And I told you my pet peeve, Fernando, were like we're it's so early in the head coaching circle for hiring where every insider is saying that team, the Panthers, the Raiders, and the Chargers told me they're gonna look everywhere, under every rock, extensive search on Mercury, in college football, in the XFL, and they're gonna do a good search. It's gonna be the same 4 or 5 people that we know, but hopefully the Chargers are for real and checking everywhere.
It's gonna be Dan and Dago. If
Oh,
they're really
okay.
gonna do things differently, go get.
Yeah, Dan and Athir could be the OC.
I don't know. No, but like, and you're 100% right. Like, you need to do this differently. Like, you have to look at it differently. Feliz
Feliz
Navidad.
Navidad, Chile.
Um, but you need to look at this differently. You have to do stuff differently, and you really have to. Man, I just they have to look at the. Our homie from Chile wants the Chargers to go full Ted Lasso over there. By the way, that report about Ben Johnson, I heard that was BS. That's not
Oh
what
yeah.
he's asking
It
for.
must be
But
so awkward too. Like, oh, I want this much money. Don't be telling people that. Like, that's weird.
I wonder if that's just a David Tepper, like, oh yeah, like
Go see
pay
what's
me
out there, buddy. Come back here. Like, it's gonna be only
yeah,
here.
yeah, exactly.
But
Like
that
you're only
tells
gonna
you,
find
like, for the other guys that we mentioned, Tomlin, Belichick, and Harbaugh, it's gonna be like $20 million a year.
yeah, that's what, especially if that contract that Jim Harbaugh just got offered by Michigan.
Oh
But the thing
yeah,
with Harbaugh is gonna be, is he gonna get suspended? Like, I'm sure he's gonna get told pretty soon if he is or if he isn't. If he is, I'm sure he'd be like, all right, peace. Like, I'm going back into
they
the
they
NFL.
really
Like,
said take this 10-year guaranteed contract. Just don't go to the NFL for 1 year. That's kind of hard to pass up. But just 1 year, we're waiting more NFL. I'll take this money. All right, fine.
but I'm sure he still has that itch
Yeah.
of I
It-
never won a Super
he's
Bowl. And
flirty. Obviously, he's a great businessman. He's kind of getting a lot of leverage and getting raises year after year. But the itch is there. He's keeps flirting with teams.
then I'm looking at like I'm I'm looking at it from his point of view. Like, is there ever gonna be an opportunity like this one? Like, you have Justin Herbert sitting right there, and I know all the other external stuff in the organization, all that. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about you're looking at the quarterback, and it feels like they'd be the perfect combo, like of quarterback. Like Jim is outspoken, he's like very out there, and Justin is more of like the even keel poker face at all time, like stuff like that. So I'm really wondering what I'd love to be a fly on the wall for that interview. Like if Jim actually does sit down with the team and talks about all that stuff, like I really would love to hear what they say to him, what he says to them, and just kind of what it's like. Like if they had a Hard Knocks for off seasons, I'd
Enough
love for it to
interviews.
be the Charger. Like that would be a great
That'd
show.
be
I know teams
that'd be
would
a good,
hate it.
good series. Like how to hire a head coach. Follow us for all the interviews.
Like that would be like, you know what? And the guy could be what's the name? Oh god, the Ravens guy. He could be the one that freaking does it.
The Ravens
Ozzie
guy?
Newsome. He can be
Oh,
the one that
that helps
leads
them out,
the.
the consultant?
Yeah, well, he's the consultant now, but
Yeah,
I'm
and
saying like he could be the main guy.
they hire a
Running
a searching
it.
firm.
Exactly, but I would really love to see what kind of is said in those meetings, just because
Yeah.
like
And real quick, I think the only one for defensive coordinator here is Mike McDonald. But we can't overlook that Bill Belichick and Tomlin know how to run defense. We can't overlook Dan Quinn, also defensive background to us, another one. So yeah, we go on defense. I think you get a little bit of experience from the experienced guys. That's what I like about those main guys, Harbaugh, Tomlin, and uh, Bill Belichick. They're not just married to one. Obviously, he's an expert in defense. Bill Belichick,
yeah,
Tomlin also kind of came from that, but they know a little bit of everything. I love that kind of being everywhere. I hate the specialist kind of thing,
but
but
you
if you go,
learn that stuff.
yeah, but if you go on specialists, I do like Mike McDonald. But other than that, it's like obviously Ben Johnson and Frank Smith. Frank Smith because he's familiar with the Chargers and familiar with Justin Herbert. You're familiar with Rashawn Slater. That might not be a bad hire if you're going the first
And that
time.
offensive line was stable when Frank
Hmm.
Smith was with the offensive line. So yeah, no, and the thing is too, I'm sure they're gonna want a head coach who comes in and is gonna be a head coach. Like, don't get like offense sticks with the offense, defense sticks with the defense. Like you have to oversee everything. You can't just focus on one area. I'm sure they're gonna want somebody who can focus on all three areas. By the way, whoever they hire, Ryan Ficken should stay as the
Yeah,
special teams coordinator. Like I would not let that guy leave. Like I'll be like, dude, I'll call you special assistant to the head coach,
yeah.
whatever you want. Just don't leave. Like you've done a great job with the special teams. Like I would try and
Yeah.
keep him.
I know we got to move on, but I was actually pretty impressed with Cameron Dicker. Like, I'm like, man, this guy's automatic, and
And
I
nobody
kind of
talks about him.
yeah, and I kind of made fun of the Chargers for doing the stupid like Pro Bowl thing campaign after you got beat down by 42 points. Like, who cares? And I'm like, oh, this guy actually deserves it. Give him a push. Get in the Pro Bowl. He's really good.
Yeah, and like he has just the same demeanor all the time. So it's just yeah,
I
that
was
was
really hoping they'll go for like a 65-yard at the end, but they couldn't get like 20 yards on that final drive. But whatever,
I
would
mean,
have been
I'm
cool.
sure Charger fans are thankful that they didn't get those
That's true.
extra
Yeah, that's it. Actually
yards because
worked out perfectly. Be competitive, but lose at the end with pride.
what are they, sixth right now at selecting? So
Dude, a
sixth,
lot of teams actually helped them out. Like the Jets
yeah,
won. Who else won? The Patriots won, but they're still ahead of them. Some other teams won too. But yeah, they're like six. Yeah.
yeah. So it's a good spot. I mean, you have some players there. Just gonna be interesting to see what the new head coach is gonna want out of it. But all right, what are we moving on to?
Dolphins
Ooh,
beat the Cowboys in the Pretenders Bowl, and I actually saw enough, Fernando, to say the Dolphins are no longer pretenders. Am I right or wrong?
oh you think they're for real?
I think they're good enough to leave that. They're like in the middle. Like you obviously maybe I'm not saying they have to beat the Ravens, but if you push the Ravens, you're for sure legit. I will validate it. But I think they're better than the Cowboys at least. So, that's
Oh no, that I mean,
they beat them.
you don't have to
And
convince.
I actually give them like a top
There's
3
somebody else you
chance
have to
in the
convince on
AFC.
that. Not me though. If Darth Belichick goes to the Chargers, do they kill the social media access? I don't know.
I would not care if the team is winning, but some people do like the social media stuff.
Yeah, the guy right here loves the social media stuff.
Yeah, like here lose by 42 points to your rival, but here's a cool video on social media.
Yeah, exactly. I see the thing about them though is that the Jalen Waddle thing now kind of hurts them. That he's gonna miss potentially the rest of the season.
Is that really what it is? Jeez, okay,
Yeah,
that's
I
tough.
think that's what Adam Schefter tweeted out, or Rappaport. I can't remember which, or Pelissero, one of those guys. They tweeted out that he might be done for the rest of the season, which is going to hurt them. I mean, they make the playoffs, but
Yeah,
you say the rest of the season, that's 2 games,
you still got to
and
win a
then
division too. You got to win one more.
exactly. So, and you're facing the Bills and you're facing the
Yeah.
Ravens. Good luck. But yeah, I mean, overall impressive game. Tua 24-37, 293, one touchdown. I think Mostert got hurt in the game as well, so that's going to be a tough one. Tyreek Hill 9 catches, 99 yards. On the other side, Dak 20 of 32, 253, 2 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb was so impressive in this game, Gilbert. 6 catches, 118, 1 touchdown. It felt like they could not contain him at all. Like that was the one thing that I
Yeah.
was just really impressed with. That they
Especially
could.
on the last touchdown drive where they had like a 3rd and 2, went to CD, and I think a 4th and 2 went to CD too.
If I am Baltimore, that's the way I try and use Zay Flowers this week.
Mm.
I try and do Zay Flowers and try and move them around a little bit the way they did. I know they're different kind of players, but still I feel like that could affect the Dolphins secondary. But they relied on field goals. That's
Yeah.
what kind of won them the game.
Jason
But
Sanders.
yeah, and I think that's impressive though when a team can win with kicking field goals and playing with their defense and their defense stopping the opposing offense from getting in the end zone. I was pretty impressed by that.
Well,
So
the Cowboys did a good job of kind of keeping everything kind of a short dump balls to Tyreek. And obviously Tyreek had that nice gain on 3rd down on the final drive to set up the Jason Sanders, but they weren't letting him beat them down the field. So that was a good thing by Quinn. But it was fun watching both offenses, Fernando, because Dak and two are so reliant on CD and Tyreek in the games of trying to get the ball to them. And I think maybe Dak and CD had a little more success, but Tyreek was still making an impact against a Dan Quinn defense. But it was a good little chess match in terms of giving your main guy the football.
I don't know for what reason around that time of the game, my ex, because I jumped on not my ex,
I was
my
gonna say,
ex, like Twitter.
oh,
I had half Dolphins fans, half Cowboy fans, and both of them were saying the same shit. They're
flag.
holding our guys.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, but there was one of Micah Parsons where I thought they were gonna like Brothers of Destruction him, chokes, but double hand choke slam him down.
Yeah, he got pissed.
But yeah, I was really Athir is predicting an Eagles Ravens Super Bowl. Surprise, surprise, Athir, you're going with the Ravens again.
Eagles do not look good at all, though. I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do, but Gilbert, I just like you're potentially now because you lost that game. If you're the Dallas Cowboys, you're gonna have to play on the road.
Oh,
And going to my Tampa Bay Buccaneers
rematch.
It ain't that easy, Gilbert.
Actually, this Buccaneers team is better than Brady's Bucs team last year. They were under 500. They had a terrible offensive line, a broken running game. That's why shout out to Dave Channels out there, Tampa Bay, the OC. He really fixed that offense because Rashad White. He's a good running back, and then you got Baker Mayfield playing the best football of his career. I think that's safe to say, Fernando. So, and then that defense is clicking with Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles is a little up and down as a game management a coach and 4th down things like that. He's letting the OC do the job, and they're clicking. So they are headed for that rematch. And last year I gave you a lot of crap because I'm saying the Cowboys are going to win. I got the best of that one. This one I might not disagree, Fernando. The Bucs look good, and the Cowboys, Bucs, and the wild card in Tampa Bay could be a fun matchup.
Everybody was saying that Mike Evans is going to leave. This is last year in Tampa. Why?
He's been great.
Him
How about him for comeback player of the year? People called him wash, and didn't even get a contract.
It's incredible. Like if I was them, I'd try and keep him. Like the dude is so consistent. They're playing good football. Man, I'd be nervous to play Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay still has a good defense. So they're a good team. And
they're
Dallas
30-0 on the Jaguars. That
Dallas,
game's a laugher.
Dallas can't travel. Like
they can't play on. They're 0-4 on grass. They play better on turf. It's weird.
It's so strange. But if they have to go to Tampa, I don't know if Dallas is making it out of there. We're gonna get another Skip Bayless grabbing a Dak Prescott jersey, throwing it in the trash, and probably lighting it on fire or whatever.
I feel deceived. I wanted to buy into the Cowboys being better than last year. They're the same team.
They're just
Kellen saying, I told you.
It's just not good. Like they're not a good football team. And I know they fought until the end with Miami, but then they got beat down last week by the Bills. So it's just it's been rough for the Cowboys this year, and that's why at one point
they're on one good leg, and they're gonna beat up on the Giants and the Cardinals to take the division. It was right there for you, Cowboys.
Yeah, and I mean that's a struggle now, but yeah, I mean, and Miami's a good team, but I'm just not.
What's up,
Johnny, I
Johnny
love
G?
that.
Johnny G always makes us laugh. We can't ever
Johnny,
put
I
it up.
love that.
We can't
But
ever put the banners up on the show, but it makes us laugh.
yeah, I can't put that up there, but I love that.
Hey, and yeah, by the way, the Rams 49ers matchup week 18 is looking pretty nice. It could be for the number 1 seed on the line, but and then like at that point, like you might even like if you want to be the 6th seed for the Rams, like that'd be nice too, right? Play the Lions in the wild card. Might have a lot to play for in that week 18 matchup.
Yeah. The NFL pre 2023, anybody can win any given Sunday. 2023, anybody can lose. The teams are killing themselves. Yeah, that's basically the way this has kind of gone this year. But I just I'm just
A
I've been
year of Joe
impressed with a lot
Flacco
of,
being an MVP candidate. How about that?
I mean,
In
I
4
think
games.
I think when he first got signed, somebody said something. No, I'm just kidding. I did kind of tell you though. I was like, I'm interested to see what Joe Flacco is going to bring to that team.
Amari Cooper, 265 yards. He was balling
Dude,
with Joe
I saw
Flacco.
that stat line. I was like,
Njoku.
Jesus. I'm like, CJ Stroud failed me though. I thought he was going to play, so I picked him, and he didn't end up
Oh
playing.
yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
I told
Same.
Dan, I'm like, the Browns are just going to run them over. Like, I thought with CJ Stroud, they may show a little bit of fight, but since they were
Hey,
not playing
I
with
know
him,
you got to move on, but real quick, Farrell foul on Stefanski telling Amari Cooper, you cannot go back in the game. It's 36-7. I know you want to get the record, the Josh Gordon's franchise record. He said he couldn't go back in the game.
fair.
Yeah, yeah.
You have a team that you can even go on the road and beat teams. Like, that's the mentality that Joe
Yeah, gotta be
Flacco
healthy.
has. And that's a mentality that the team has. If Amari Cooper would have pulled something, everybody would have been crapping on him.
And real quick, Fernando, it was good karma because you know what happened? The Texans had a couple garbage time touchdowns. They put Cooper back in for 1 catch, broke the record. So it worked out.
I know. But
Everything's clicking for Stefanski.
by the way, I think the 3 most dangerous teams left are the Browns, the Rams. What was the other one?
Buccaneers?
And the Buccaneers.
There we go, Johnny J. You got a nice PG comment.
I like Johnny G. He's here every Monday too, so I think that's awesome.
Shout out.
Those are my 3 dangerous teams: the
One more time?
Rams, the Browns, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
What's the criteria? Like you can't be like a team
Lower seed that. Oh well, okay. The Buccaneers.
Okay, you can't be a team with 10 wins right now. How about that?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, then the Browns.
Wait, they do, but they're okay. Either no 10 wins or a wild card team. There you go.
Okay, there you go. So like that's kind of like because and I would put the Bills. Like if I had to take one of them out, I'd take out the Browns or the Bucks because they're winning their division, and I would put the Bills in there. But I think I honestly think that the Rams are showing a lot of grit right now, and I just think that the Bucks are playing really good football. I think the Bills are playing good football, and because Saturday was also like one of those grinded games where you're like, dude, the season's almost out. Like you needed it. Like a lesser team than you showed a lot of fight, but just go out there, deliver the last knockout blow. You kick the field goal, all that. But by the way, I saw that picture. Did you see what's the receiver on the chart? Erickson. Erickson had a lane that he could have taken off and maybe scored. But I think he kind of like hesitated and he ended up getting caught or whatever. And some guy tweets out, at least Erickson is down for the for the tanking. And I started laughing. I'm like, that is hilarious.
Did you see that? Speaking of pictures, did you see that picture of Trevor Lawrence where like his face got like rearranged
dude
on a sack?
That looked like a Rocky Balboa, like one of those like the punch. Like I don't know. It was crazy the way it looked, but Gilbert, this game, the Raiders and the Chiefs was just nuts. Like, why do I call it nuts? Because
it was the best game of Monday.
It really was. But what I could not believe, Gilbert, was the fact that the Chiefs jump out to a 7-3 after Isaiah Pacheco touchdown. And right away they try and go with the weirdo play. And then Mahomes fumbles. Nichols picks it up, scores a touchdown. Okay, regroup. Let's get back out there. Pick 6 from Mahomes, and that was basically all she wrote. That Raiders defense, they are really playing like grit football right now, and I just don't know how you
Raider
can
football.
like I know a lot of losers were like, oh, pissed off because that the cornerback Jack Jones, I think his name is
Yeah.
Jack Jones.
Yeah, Jack Jones.
He decided not to give the ball to the kid.
I
Good.
like it.
That is Raider
That's in the
effing
70s,
football.
that will fly.
Exactly. That is what Raider football is. You need somebody who's going to get you back to the Raider way. And
On
what?
Christmas Day in your opponent's house, a little kid.
I love it.
Boom.
I love it. I love it. And yeah, he was a Chiefs fan. So I love
Even
that.
the parents
So
are like, oh, look, cool. Nope.
yeah, exactly. So that was amazing. Like you need somebody who's going to do that for you. And Antonio Brown looks like he's bringing or Antonio
You've
Pierce.
been on his ex too much.
He looks like he's bringing back the Raider way, and he knows the Raider way. Why? Because he grew up idolizing the Raiders. He knows about what the organization's like. He knows all that stuff. So I don't know if you can like. You literally are about to go 2 for 2. Rich Bisaccia came in, they made the playoffs. You decided not to bring him in, and you brought in Josh McDaniels. Are you really going to let Antonio Pierce walk and potentially miss out on this? When if you let him walk, Patrick Graham probably walks too. That's the crazy. And like I told you earlier, like the crazy part about the whole game is that Aiden O'Connell like didn't do anything the rest of the game. Like he didn't even complete a pass, nothing like that.
Because they run the freaking football.
But
That is
yeah,
Antonio Pierce. Smash
Zamir White ran the football
Jacobs.
hard. And that's the other incredible part. It was Zamir White. By the way, Zamir White was taking one pick before Isaiah Spiller.
Oh,
I saw that yesterday. But I'm just really impressed with the fight that the Raiders have shown. And yesterday, literally, they showed so much grit. They got after Mahomes. They hit him. They tackled him. Even when he would take off running, they would hit him numerous times. They literally almost made Mahomes cry after the game. He's all tearing up, and then you see that stupid picture of Taylor trying to console Brittany, and I'm like, dude, like, oh god,
another gold moment of the game.
I can't wait for them to get eliminated, just so that we don't have to see anything else about them.
And real quick, your brothers don't believe me, but the whole Tony Romo and Jim Nantz, they were so annoying. Like, stop taunting, don't poke the bear. Mahomes gonna come back and get you. Like, no, Romo, don't scare money, don't make money. The Raider way to be not afraid. Go punch him in the mouth. Come earn this W here. You didn't. We took it. We stole it. We left. Like, I love that.
I loved it too. I was like, no, keep on talking crap. Like Jack Jones literally stared at him and said something to him, and I was like, dude. That is amazing. Like, I love that. But
did you hear the story of him? Like Pierce coached him in high school at Long Beach Poly, then in college, and then got him when he got waived by the Patriots. He's like, I know awesome. That guy. That guy is a baller, and it worked out.
We believe this is what the hell we do. Let's smoke our shit. Let's talk our shit. This is the Raiders' goddamn way. Antonio Pierce, after beating the Chiefs,
he said on the broadcast on TV that he wants to grab him by the throat and suffocate him. I was like, what year is it? But I love it.
That's what you need, though. Like that, we're too scared. Like people are scared of people like Antonio Pierce. That's exactly what the league needs. Somebody like him. Like if I'm the Raiders, I'm making my permanent head coach, and I say there's nothing literally like they're gonna go into next week. They go into Indy this weekend. They'll probably end up beating Indy, and then we're gonna look at him and
the Broncos after that.
And they could beat the Broncos. Look what just happened to the Broncos. They lost to Bailey Zappi. Like,
yeah, they could be 9-8. That's a good record. And
I'm telling you, dude.
Like I said the Raiders are going to win 7 games this season, and that Pierce making me look right after a terrible start with Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, no, and they really are. They really are impressive, and I just don't see how you can go away from him or switch it up. You can't. You're gonna like.
Fernando, not only is he beating the divisional opponents, like that defense has been solid all year, but they got better after McDaniels left. That's because he's telling McGram, okay, do what you got to do. I won't be behind your back. Go do it. And then he's running the football efficient. Remember when they couldn't even crack 20 points in a game? You got that. You got the rushing attack. You got the good defense, the best defense in 2 decades, I feel like, maybe it's the Super Bowl team. And then you got a good special team with a good kicker, a good punter, things like that. You need the quarterback. Easier said than done. But you got the star players believing, Crosby and Devontae Adams. Go draft a quarterback, maybe go sign one. but let AP keep doing what he's doing. And one more thing, Fernando, I kind of kept saying, hey, Mark Davis, you try copying the Raider way. Don't be trying to copy the Raider way. Find your own way. Somehow he found it. He found it's not even a fake kind of copy. It's just natural Raider way. You got everything right there. Just
But
go
the crazy
hire
part
the
is,
guy.
like, yeah, like we said, like you already missed out on Rich Bisaccia. You can't. There's no way
Yep.
you can let this
And
guy walk.
it's clicking better, I think. I feel like they won't make the playoffs. I get that, but they're clicking.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But man, it's really impressive, and it sucks because it kind of feels like because I mean I understand like Joe Morley and all these guys are like, no, we can make we could win the division, but it would take the Chiefs losing out, and I think the Raiders to win out for
The
them
Chiefs play the
to.
Bengals. It's a tough one, right?
Then they
And
play
then
the Chargers.
at the end, yeah, imagine. Hey, if you want to end this, I guess not for the draft pick, but you want to end a year on a good note, go beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that would be
Yeah,
interesting, but
it's a little delusional, but not wild. Well, I guess it
yeah,
is, but no,
yeah,
I just said delusional, so it is wild. But you
yeah.
never
No,
know. Let people dream.
I mean, yeah, I guess. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys so much for checking out another over. Oh wait, today's Tuesday. Sorry,
Tuesday.
overreaction Tuesday with the
We'll be back
Compas.
next Tuesday because of New Year's Day.
Yeah, so it'll be next Tuesday again, because like Gilbert said, New Year's Day. We'll have some overreaction stuff. We may even talk a little national championship because it will be the day after the national championship
Oh
game.
yeah,
So who knows what happens there?
semifinal,
But
Fernando.
yeah,
Semifinal.
semifinal. Sorry, yeah. You know what I meant. But again, thank you guys so much for checking us out. Don't forget to check out everything else on Compas on the Beat Network. The podcast will drop tomorrow again because everything is delayed by a day. So next week, same thing. It'll drop on Wednesday. But again, thank you guys so much for joining us. Appreciate you guys. Have a good rest of your week. And don't forget to check out everything else. Thank you guys so much.